In the exalted realms of human cognition, it is discerned that individuals are imbued with the wondrous gift of free will, a faculty that grants autonomy and the capacity for self-determination. However, the possession of such independence is not without its concomitant obligations and tribulations, for it necessitates the existence of the ego, the lower self that embodies our desires, cravings, and impulses, fostering the spirit of individualism and self-reliance. It is thus that we find ourselves in a quagmire of intricate moral deliberations where we must ascertain the appropriate balance between our innate sense of self and our duties to the divine. The esteemed scholar, Imam Ghazali, has expounded upon this very subject, proposing that a life devoid of the ego would engender a condition of pure rationality and moral rectitude. In this idealized state, humans would be impervious to the machinations of malevolent forces, such as the temptations proffered by Satan, as their existence would be solely focused on the worship and servitude of the Almighty. Bereft of desires and aspirations, they would not experience the pangs of sadness, nor would they deviate from the path of righteousness. One could contend that even the aspiration to perform acts of benevolence may be inextricably linked to the ego, as it reflects our desires and inclinations. However, Imam Ghazali posits that if such actions are pursued with the sincere intention of pleasing God, then they transcend the domain of the ego and become an act of complete surrender and submission to the Creator. Thus, a desire to draw closer to God and assume the role of a devout servant is not marred by the ego, for it represents the relinquishing of one's sense of independence and individuality. In order to achieve spiritual enlightenment and fulfill our obligations to God, it is incumbent upon us to bridle our egos and resist the allure of self-absorption. To extricate ourselves from the ensnaring embrace of the ego, we must eschew the incessant clamor for validation and acknowledgement from others. Instead, our primary objective ought to be the pursuit of God's pleasure and the embodiment of His will, for it is through such endeavors that we attain true happiness and tread the path of moral probity. The ego, in its unbridled form, seeks to assert its sovereignty, yearning for independence and distinction. It is of paramount importance, therefore, that we repudiate its entreaties and reaffirm our commitment to a life in service of the divine. The sagacious axiom, "The person who knows himself knows his Lord," elucidates the necessity of self-reflection and introspection, for it is through such contemplations that we gain an understanding of our intrinsic nature and our relationship with God. By developing this awareness, we can overcome the snares of the ego and cultivate a mindset attuned to spiritual progress. In conclusion, dear readers, it is my fervent hope that the insights imparted in this treatise inspire you to contemplate the profound implications of our existence, the role of the ego, and our relationship with the Almighty. It is through such reflections that we may discover the path to a more enlightened and purposeful life. May these words serve as a catalyst for your own spiritual journey, and may you find solace in the pursuit of the divine. If you have found this discourse edifying, I humbly request that you consider subscribing to this channel. Your support is invaluable in our quest to disseminate knowledge and wisdom, and it shall empower us to continue illuminating the hearts and minds of others.